As you can see, there is an iPhone 6s attached to this device. This is Docker-OSX running in a Docker container, and it can run remotely. Hey everyone, so here is Docker-OSX USB FluxD, where we're going to be able to plug the iPhone straight into the Mac subsystem. So what we're going to be using is a tool by Nikias and Corellium called USB FluxD, which allows you to basically use any iMobile device or any Apple device completely remotely over the air by muxing the local USB MUXD socket and then basically exporting that to a remote available connection. That lets you open up a absolute wild amount of things that you can achieve with that, including running, for example, Docker-OSX on a remote server and then running USB MUXD locally and then controlling your iPhone or your iOS device, iPhone, whatever it is you've got, remotely, like from the other side of the world, which is bizarre, but it's actually amazing. And it is created by the authors from iMobile device. So straight away, I've just plugged in a iPhone. I believe it's a 4S or a 6. Sorry, it's a 6S. It's an old device. I believe it's got a cracked screen. It's got the LCD's broken. It's in a different language, and I believe it's iCloud locked, which is funny because all we want to do is just test out USB FluxD and see what pops up. So what we're going to do first, we want to run a container. Now I do have some containers ready, so I'm not going to download this file. I have my own file. As you can see there, we got documents. As you can see, the phone is actually connected. However, it doesn't mount, which makes perfect sense because I believe it's iCloud locked. For Apple security reasons, I don't think they're going to let you mount and read the files on a device which has been lost or stolen. I didn't steal it. I just bought it from some guy who has a box of iPhones that people sell and get, I guess, for parts in the local area. And it is a completely busted up iPhone. I mean, it's completely busted up. It doesn't even have a home button. It was already open. And so the first thing you want to do is Docker-D. If Docker-D is already running, that will show up. You may have to do systemctl start Docker-D if you're running Docker-D via the systemd protocol. Most distributions use this. However, I tend to disable it because I hate it coming on all the time. Let me just do that again. And it's disabled. So now if you go pgrep docker, pgrep docker, there's one Docker running at the moment, and that's running in a separate window where I've just gone sudo docker-d because that's the way I like to run it. That way I can close it whenever I want, I can start it up whenever I want, and I can reboot it without it coming on all the time. So what we'll do now is use the naked image, which is the second image. So once you've got either Mojave, High Sierra, Catalina, Monterey, Big Sur, Catalina again. Oh, by the way, if you want to ask questions, there's a Discord chat, which is very easy to ask questions on. And then we've also got a Telegram. I do have a Slack, but it's not very active, and I don't really like the Slack interface. However, Discord is very popular, and there's a lot of people to help. If you haven't actually already found an issue on this page, it's a big page, and that almost every single conceivable issue is on this page, except for about a few third-party things, which I'll explain in a minute. So what you need is libusb MUXD or MUXD. So we need USB MUXD, the Avahi daemon, and SOCAT. So I've actually added USB FluxD to the Arch Linux user repository. Now you can just download it from the original source, and I'll show you what happens. Let's do it. Let's do it in this temp drive. Put it over there. Always on top. Wrong side. Let's download the x86 version. And the funny thing about this is you can run USB muxd with USB fluxd on a Raspberry Pi or like a little ARM board, and then that connection there can be sent to a fully remote server where you can debug your iPhone completely remotely. It's actually quite powerful. So we'll just wget this file and then tar-xzf USB fluxd, and we should get a folder. Inside the folder we've got flux control and then the flux daemon. So let's see what the permissions are. It's already executable, and then we'll go back to the thing. First of all, in one window we want to have Avahi daemon running, USB muxd running. You can tell that this is running if your iPhone shows up as a device, which I showed earlier, and then Avahi daemon, which will run a local micro DNS server. Now, this DNS server obviously can be manipulated to be completely connected to the remote internet. And then we've got this one here, which means we're about to expose USB muxd on port 5000. And we're now going to start USB fluxd, and it's going to tell me that there's a phone connected. Now I'm going to unplug the phone real quick, and it just told me disconnected. I'm going to plug the phone back in, and it should connect. I believe it is not connected. And what I like to do is, if it doesn't connect, I usually go like this: system restart USB muxd, or just restart this. The Unix socket's not running. Let's have a look. There, it's back on. So see, you just have to fiddle around with restarting USB muxd and USB fluxd, and it will start up again. That's if your lock file is still there, which is it's basically saying that you've already got a session running. Now I finished that session quite quickly, and then basically just fiddle around with it till it gets working. So now what you need is a macOS with some sort of you need macOS running with either the macOS configurator or Xcloud, which I'll bring up now. And I do not believe I have an image that has the exact. Let me just find a machine that I've got running. So I'm just copying a Monterey that I've already installed. That's about 29 gigabytes to another folder. And I'm going to use that as my in file for the naked image. Where's naked? Here we go. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to bring it out here. Change you would use any text editor you want, and I believe it's going to be, it's going to be named Monterey first. And I'm going to go to that folder. I could put the whole folder path, but instead of that, I can just navigate to that folder. So I have a folder called test, and in a few moments that folder will have the macOS full image in there, and which then we can run with the USB fluxd. Okay, that's finished. Now I'm going to run this, and I should get, let me just see if there's any other images running. There's no images running, and I'm going to paste, clear, paste. That is going to use my Monterey first image as the core image. It's now going to build a boot disk based on the parameters, specifically generating a unique serial number. And you'll see in a moment that it's going to use supermin, this is irrelevant, but supermin and libguestfx to build the system on the inside. Really big, about 6 gigabytes before, and we just shrunk it back down to 2 gigabytes, and there's my new serial numbers. So there's my macOS, but what I'll do is I'll just scroll up. This is my new serial number. and you can save that, you can download that, whatever. Now, I now have a macOS popping up here. It should come up in a minute. Let's have a look. I might have to NVRAM reset, but we'll figure it out in a sec. It should come soon. I can see that my CPU is running a bit hot. So there we go. And it's working. So there are some big changes between Monterey, Big Sur, etc. and specifically between Big Sur and High Sierra and the third one, I forgot what it's called, Mojave and Catalina. So that's just doing its back-end thing, and I probably should have added a bit more RAM or a bit more CPU, but we're about to find out. It's now doing a launch D something or other. Can't see what it's doing, but it's going really slow. Okay. So we now have a macOS. Zoom out. Which I booted into recovery mode. So take away the no picker. So I've accidentally booted the wrong one. So we'll just exit that, and we want the no picker. We want to have the picker. So I'll run that again. I'll make that fix in a moment. We'll run that again. You know what, this time we're going to get rid of the generate unique. We don't care about serial numbers. And we're going to run that there, and it's just going to run straight away. So now we should have the generic serial numbers. You can press enter here and get into the boot options menu. And we've got the Monty, macOS base system, and the recovery image. Monty's the one. This is booting up Monterey in a VM on Linux. And I'll show you how much RAM I'm using. Not much RAM. And once the VM settles down and you disable all of the extra stuff, it's actually not going to be using that much. It's actually not going to be using that much power. So I just got a user here. Let's log in with user. I assume my password's going to be Alpine. Oh shit, that's the username. And yeah, that was Alpine. Good guess. Just reminding you that you can zoom out. Like, if you want to make it smaller, there is the option of putting in height and width, but you can check the README for that. So it's running incredibly slow because it's running a, please don't pop up with my Apple ID. Okay, this should be completely brand new. And let's double check about this Mac. And that looks about right because that's the generic, that is the generic serial number. And now what we're going to do is run the USB FluxD. So I'm actually going to SSH in. I think I have SSH. Let's see if I've got it available. I do not. So what we want to do, zoom out, go to sharing, and I've got that disabled, so that's not very helpful. Or applications from Finder, applications. Oh, it's laggy, but let's go to terminal. Let's go here. Now let's get applications, settings, system preferences. I'm going to go sharing. I do not want to update. Sharing. And it should be in sharing. And you want to put on remote login, which will allow you to SSH on port 50922 localhost. Says SSH user at localhost minus port 50922. Password was Alpine. And just to show you what we're doing, we are now running in a Mac kernel, full Darwin inside of a VM. Now, I don't know if I have, if I got make installed. I do. I don't. So I don't have Xcode installed, which is a pain in the fucking ass. So that takes like an hour to install. So what I'm going to do is see if I already have a USB FluxD binary already released. wget. I don't have that either. I got curl. I have curl. Let's do this curl to USB fluxd.tar.gz. That's going to download USB fluxd.tar, whatever. Minus xz. This is in Linux. Sorry, this is in the macOS. Unrecognized archive format. That doesn't help, does it? Let's see if we can just open it up inside of macOS. So I actually added some instructions to this of how to make it, but you will need the, what's that going there? Where's that? We need to go to Monty. Actually, you know what? We forgot to install. We forgot to upgrade the RAM. So let's do equals RAM equals to 10. Let's do 10 gigabytes of RAM. CPU equals to max. And then we can run it now. It should run significantly faster. And I mean significantly faster. And you'll notice that in a moment. Based on how fast the boot process is. It's significantly faster. As you can see, it's running quite quickly. It's a bit slow, but you know, it's better than nothing. So here's the Mac. Let's zoom out a bit. And I'm going to show you again, user at local host minus P5092 Alpine, and now nproc, which I don't believe exists. That's fair enough. Free. This is inside the Mac, by the way. And let's just see how much free. Oh, we don't have that command. I forgot. So Alpine. And it should run significantly faster. Now this Mac this Mac has probably just wondered why it's booted back up with so much RAM. And I'm going to show you from in the about. So now we have almost 10 gigabytes of RAM, which is a lot faster. So it's a lot smoother per se. Now what we want to do, now we actually need to make it. Let's do make. We got make. Oh, we don't have it. Install. Let's install. As you can tell, it took like an hour to finish that installation. But let's SSH back in. Let's go user local host port 50922. Password was Alpine. And now let's go back to here. I'll Brew install these. So let's get the Brew credentials. Just going in my other browser. And let's get the Brew credentials in there. Auto type. Let's see how much work it has to do now. Hopefully Not much because I've already got the tools. And I've already got the tools. So this time it's just getting Homebrew, which is way better than before. And it's done. Okay, thank fuck. Okay. So now we can go to... where is it? Oh, we can do it outside. We can do it with... Give me a sec. Where have we got this? Brew Install. Let's do this. Let's take another few minutes while we wait for that installing. So we've just run that command there. We're still waiting. So we ran brew install make autoconf libtool package conf gcc lib iMobile device and USB muxd. And it should be coming now. Okay, so we finally have Homebrew installed. Let's add this to our path. We need all of these. Export. I'm not sure if we need all these, but we'll just put them in anyway. And then, oh, there's no freaking W on ZSH. We got double pathed. So let's go back here. AutoGen should be ready. CD USB FluxD, ls. That's our build files. AutoGen.sh, and we're live. It's now going to generate from the configuration and get ready to build. Okay, so now we can do make. It's going to make locally, and then after that we'll do sudo make install. And provide password. This is going to install to some weird directory. I think it's where is it? I don't even have USB FluxD, right? No, I don't have it yet. So it should go to user local bin. For some reason, that's not part of our path. So let's just see if this works. It's not going to work. Oh, it did work. I think I might need the other one as well. Let's get bash so I can actually backspace. Nope. In, and then I have USB FluxD, and let's have a look. So this works. So that should work. I should have an iPhone connected. Where is the... As you can see, I'm going to show you now. Unplug the iPhone. Unplug the iPhone. Disconnect it. And plug the iPhone. Okay. I believe it's working. If it's not, I can change the IP address to, I believe it's 192.168.1.2, and that should work. Let's see if that works. And if it should work, then we should have same as other windows. Same as other windows. I don't have Xcode installed because I don't want to go overboard. Now the phone will not show up in your left hand side of the Finder, but it will show up in, if you go, let's have a look. Now the phone's connected to two different USB FluxDs. Now I believe I can run, you know, sudo su alpine, a command like iDevice syslog should start giving me connections from the iPhone. That is an iPhone connected through the Docker container over the air. That's it. That's the iPhone. Now you can open up in Xcode. It will show up in Xcode. You can use Apple Configurator. You can do all sorts of things. It's iCloud locked, by the way. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Sorry about the confusing setup instructions. The instructions are all listed on the GitHub site. I will probably upload USB MuxD in binary format to this repo because I cannot stand importing and getting Xcode ready. And if you enjoy the project, you can subscribe, give us a like on LinkedIn, give us a like on GitHub. I've got the Discord, we've got Telegram. I'm also on LinkedIn if you want to ask me about some business related stuff. And you can also contact me directly on my website, and also obviously my Twitter account, which is at the top, and ask me anything you want. So just to prove it's still working, I'm going to unplug the phone. The phone is unplugged. The phone is plugged back in. Give it a moment. Okay, it's not available. Let's try again. Now it's available. Now that might need to be reset. Connected. So it's working. Now it's giving me logs again. That's iPhone iCloud locked logs. iPhone 6s. Just to show you how real it is, I'm going to jailbreak the iCloud locked phone that's running through here. Let's go to check rain. Getting check rain. Let's get the beta for macOS. Yes, allow. Install. Oh, too quick. Hang on. Install it. And then drag it from there to there. Check rain. Double check. Open application. Here we go. Let's check this out. Zoom in. There's proof that you can put an iPhone in Linux. Run the macOS version of checkrain. Jailbreak your iOS device on Linux using a Mac VM with the USB attached. Over the air using USB FluxD. Thanks for watching.